Here we are again, writing daily. Welcome, everybody. This is Devin Galaudet. We are going to be discussing writing in fear and getting out of it. It's going to be a little bit of a personal experience today. As always, feel free to leave comments, write in the box, like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, follow me on Twitter, do all that fun stuff. For those who don't know, my name is Devin Galaudet, the editor-in-chief of In the Know Traveler. I have a MFA in creative nonfiction, and I am the author of the upcoming book, 10,000 Miles with My Dead Father's Ashes. Anyway, it's great to be here. If you don't know, we do this every day. I put out a podcast and we talk about writing. We talk about tips to help you become a better writer, write more effectively, whether you are writing a letter to your grandmother or you are finishing your great American novel. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I wanted to talk about fear in writing because I remember a number of years ago, I remember taking a writing class. And this was after I had already been told, by like a third grade teacher, you'll never be a writer. And I kind of held on to that until that sort of that narrative that I built up in my head started getting chipped away. And so what I ended up doing is I ended up taking this writing course. It's kind of a funny story, so maybe I'm going to tell you the funny story. I used to have like a little crush on this woman who owned a bookstore in Santa Monica. If you're watching, hello. So I went to this bookstore and I signed up on it for a writing class in Santa Monica City College. And, the young woman at the bookstore said, hey, oh, you're taking a writing class. Who are you taking it with? And I told her, and she goes, oh, go immediately back, get rid of that person, and take this particular professor, a guy named Jim Crusoe, who has been at Santa Monica City College for years and years and years. And he's a super genius. And she convinced me that I should go back and change instructors. So I changed instructors and I start taking this writing class with this guy. And without question, like in 2 seconds, this guy knows writing. Like he is all over it. No matter what book you talk about, he has already read it. He has analyzed. He can break it down. He knows, how good the book is in comparison to the others, the author's other books. He can break that down. I mean, he's just a genius. He knows the right questions to ask, and he was a really smart guy. And I knew that going in. However, I started writing, and I wanted to impress this guy because he was the teacher. And so I had all these ideas in my head of what was acceptable and what wasn't acceptable and how should I write and how should I not write. And I had all this fear built up that if I wrote the wrong sentence, he would realize that I wasn't a writer and the gig would be up. So certain words, I didn't want to use certain words. It was a whole series of kind of silliness that I had built up around writing for me. And I know a lot of people who do this. And so I had made all of these rules up. It didn't work. And every week I would get this sort of like, page one, it would have all kinds of red lines. Larry said that would be okay. And then everything else would be X'd out. And then it would say, he smiled or something, you know what I mean? But everything was red X's. Like some pages just had a red X on top, which I initially thought, oh, maybe that's a check mark that was a good page. No, that just meant the whole page was garbage. And so I kept planning these elaborate stories, and I kept working harder and harder on trying to impress him and be a writer and not be this, it was a whole silliness that I had built up around this writing. And so one evening, and by the way, all his notes at the bottom of the page were like, hey, good job, you're really getting it. And which was like even more staggering because clearly he just marked the page to pieces. Like every one page would have like 2 sentences in it. So I remember sitting up late at night where I'm working on this guy's next assignment. And I ended up deciding, thinking of him, I thought, you know what, I'm going to have one character stick a pencil in the eye of the other character, right? because I was just like, and all for this brief moment in time, this sort of like angry part of me forgot all about the fearful writing part of me. And I just wrote this story. Was it a great story? Who knows? But it doesn't matter. Is that what I wrote was this sort of like authentic place that I was at, and I didn't worry about what somebody was going to think of me. I didn't worry about any of it, and I handed in the assignment, and then I forgot about it. A few days later, when I saw him the following week, he turned back the assignment, and there was still a few red lines through it. But he, after the class, kind of pulled me off to the side, and he goes, I was waiting for you to get it. Like he could see the difference in the quality of my writing because I was in so much fear, and that fear was away. Once the fear was away, he could start seeing what I was capable of doing. So if this is you, if this resonates at all with you, kick around the idea of taking whatever the fears are, whatever your preconceptions about how you're supposed to write, what a writer sounds like, what a writer does, and forget it. Don't worry about it. Take a gamble. Write something insane. Write something that you didn't think you were capable of even saying out loud, but maybe you could put it down on the page. Do something that is going to be different, exciting, and different. And as always, whether you're watching me live, say hello, let me know that you're here. If you have questions, comments, hate mail, let's discuss that too. Writing is supposed to be fun. We're all doing the best that we can. And ultimately, the more good writing there is in the world, the better for all of us. We're at a wonderful time to be a writer. So I'm hoping that if you have questions or comments, that you'll leave them here. Certainly subscribe to me on Facebook and YouTube, and follow me on Twitter and ask me questions. And I respond to everything. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again soon. And I think soon, meaning tomorrow, because I do this every single day. I hope you're going to be joining us for more, and I will look forward to seeing you again real soon. Thanks for being here today.